Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunnitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisheshwarnivadi Paschata Visikarine. Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripasindhubhya Chapatidanam Pavane Prabhaishnavate Namo Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopivekanta Shri Radha Kanta Namastate Takta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. First of all, I would like to thank Acharya Chaitanya Prabhu, Ramesh Prabhu, Gita Priya's mom, and all of you for coming here to listen about.
Oh, can you share the other screen, Prabhu? Sorry.
Share screen, no?
Share screen, but this one, I think.
Yeah, just see. Don't go. I will read that.
Okay, no, I think share screen and yeah, this one.
I cannot do the entire screen share.
I think now you can click on the share. Yeah, that's
okay. But I wanted to show this also. Then I go back and share again.
Oh, the Veda page? Oh, then you can pull that here or.
I'll go
no,
back.
why you want to zoom from here? Leave it, no? You
Okay.
take your zoom.
Okay. So then, yeah, you can share whatever you want to share.
So if you want, you can disconnect from that. We will arrange the.
Okay, whenever I need, I'll go back. Okay. So it's just 1 hour, so let us not worry about these things. Yeah, so I'm grateful for all of you being here, trying to understand, the science of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is something that is accepted like yoga all over the world by all kind of people, especially intellectuals. The scientists who actually was researching on nuclear physics or on quantum mechanics and all those things, very intricate. Because of those discoveries way back in early 20th century, I think whatever technology we have because of those discoveries, just multiply, cascading, and growing. But the basis was that, and those are the people who are actually having that brain understanding, depth, ability to see beyond what we are able to see as a common man. That brought a lot of changes, and those people are studying Vedantas and especially Bhagavad Gita. If you, this Oppenheimer who did the nuclear test, first nuclear bomb test in US here, actually recited one sloka from Gita when the bomb went off. Any quiz question you like? Anybody knows what is the sloka? Here any? Yeah, no?
Now I come as death.
And he says, yeah, Bhagavad Gita 11th chapter, where Krishna speaks about time I am the destroyer of everything. Time factor. Anyway, so he recites that sloka. That means he was studying. Why? Because science and technology can answer many questions, and especially in this time and age, fast-paced life, technology is a unavoidable tool, right? We need it to kind of survival kit in one sense. So much part of our life now. At the same time, the technology and science developments are not able to answer many questions. Why do we need Bhagavad Gita? For example, this 8th chapter, I think you are studying chapter by chapter.
Yeah, verse
right?
by verse we are going.
Verse by verse we are going. Let's try to throw some overall sense of this chapter. So, 5 things in Bhagavad Gita is emphasized. One is who am I? What is my real identity? That answer is Atma. We are spirit, soul, eternal. We are passing through a temporary body, which is a temporary life. The body, baby's body, then youth, then old age, then we change. Next. So the body going through transformations, but the person that we are, when we sit and think about it, we can understand we are different from all those phases of our life. And that's where we try to understand what is eternity. One example I try to give is, in this world everything is temporary. Whatever we observe, including the life of sun, moon, stars, everything is going to go away. Our body is one example, but then the larger scale also everything is disappearing. There is nothing that is permanent here. There is nothing that is permanent here. Yet we want a permanent happiness. We want a life forever, right? What is the thought is emerging from? What is this? What is source? That source, because we are eternal by nature. Although everything else is going against that, everything else, that desire should not have aroused only, because everything is temporary anyway, right? But against all odds, this desire is very strong, immensely strong. We want to be there forever. So that one aspect itself convinces that we're not belonging to a temporary nature. We are actually permanent. We are eternal. So that's where the Bhagavad Gita begins, chapter 2. Then if it is so, then what should be our duty? As a son, as a brother, as a sister, as a husband, as a wife, as a countryman, or countrywoman, we have certain duties. And those duties are very nicely, in our constituents and every places it is written how it should be. And that we try to follow. The same way, if we are eternal beings, then what should be our duty? What should be our activities? What should be karma? So then karma yoga begins, where Krishna is trying to connect our day-to-day activities with the eternal principles. How to connect that? That's what karma yoga means, to connect. So karma yoga is our activities that we are doing. How to bring a meaning out of it so that we connect to the eternal principles. That is karma yoga. Then knowledge, cultivating knowledge, jnana yoga, chapter 4. Chapter 5 again, Aksana and Krishna come more about karma yoga. And chapter 6 is about how we can just do activities on the level of soul only. That is where the dhyana yoga is the concept, meditation and all those things are explained very nicely in 6th chapter. Then 7th is actually where Krishna starts speaking about himself. So another principle in Gita is, so one is material nature, spiritual nature, 2, 3 is we, that is Atma, 3rd is karma, and 4th is Ishvara. Ishvara is the Krishna, about Krishna himself, who is Ishvara, who is God. And 5th is time, like the 5 subjects are there. So here, from 6 to 12, Krishna speaks about him and how to reach him. And in the 7th to 12, sorry. So in the 7th chapter, sloka number 1, 7.1, he says, Maya saktaha mana partha yoga minja madasraya asamsayam samagramam yatha jnasasi tatsruna. That if one is attached to me, Maya asakta mana. So he speaks about meditation in the 6th chapter. The 7th chapter he begins by saying, one whose mind is attached to me. Maya asakta. Asakta means strong attachment. Sakta means strong attachment. Asakta means even more stronger. So asakti with Krishna, towards his lotus feet, towards his beauty, towards his activities, towards his magnanimity. So all his great qualities, how he helped the Pandavas, for example, wonderfully. A lot of fun in Mahabharata also, and all these things that he did. So like that, Maya Sakta Mana Partha Yogam Yunja Madasraya. But by taking shelter of him, Madasraya, under his shelter, by being attached to him, then we hear about these subject matters. Then Krishna says, Yatha Gyasya Tatsrunam. Just try to hear and understand about all these topics. And 7 chapters he speaks about these things, and how again he speaks about how we are different, body is different, matter is different, and there is a different nature like that. And here in the 8th chapter is something Arjuna is again asking same questions that he's already heard about. This is what happens. We hear about Atma, whatever, and then we again ask that question, what is this? ठीक है समझा लेकिन अभी फिर से सुनते हैं, like that. So Arjuna also kept asking. So in the 8th chapter you will see it's about again life and death basically. आगे नहीं जा रहे. Yes, so he's saying, is it just the span of time we live? Like, such and such year we're born and such year somebody dies and that's it? That's over? Is that over? The game is over? Things are lost? Whatever he did, whatever, he achieved or whatever misdeed done or whatever, is it all over? What happens? Or is there something more to it? Is it the end of everything or is it the beginning of an unknown journey? So these are the questions that keeps hovering in our mind. Although we are doing so many other activities in life, but like this is staring at us from some side, and we don't normally like to discuss about these things. Just जब आएगा तब देखेंगे. That kind of attitude we have always. कि retirement life में देख लेंगे. We'll find it out later. But what good thing about our Vedic culture is this is taught right from the beginning. When you're a kid, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, mother says, don't kill ants, Mahapap. My mother used to say. So sometimes in the food by mistake we eat. The mind goes inside. In India, used to be all tranquil areas, right? Sometimes. So somebody would say, okay, you'll swim better because ants they know how to swim, for example. But anyway, they say, but you don't kill them, right? So those kind of teachings comes in a very, very, very small way, but in a very profound way. It comes about concept of karma, concept of transcendence, and all those things they are taught. And so whatever religiosity we know, basically in India, it's from our home, from our parents. College, universities, nobody talks about it. Nobody gives a significant. They don't make it a larger aspect of our life, or they keep it as a. But the thing is, these things, like I said, they keep staring at us. This somebody dies, some friends sometimes, some friends just passes away for cancer, accident, so many things happens. One of my friend committed suicide long time when I was a child. I was in school. I was like shocked. So these things keep troubling us from behind. But Bhagavad Gita discusses about it, and in a very nice way, in a very meaningful way, and something that can help us to look at it in a positive angle, something that we can look forward to actually. So this chapter 8 is, it's like a, what do you call it? Acronyms? DEAD, dead. Because death is described in a very detailed way in this chapter. So D stands for doubts. The E stands for end of life. A stands for attaining the supreme, and D devotion. Actually, the chapter entitled is attaining the supreme. How to attain the supreme. So therefore, naturally, this chapter death comes in this chapter. So in the beginning, Arjuna asks 8 questions, but Krishna focuses on the last question. So what are the 8 questions? So if we something is echoing, I think you have to mute here. So how do I have to stop sharing then again share? Like
No,
that?
yeah, good. Or you want to share that?
Yeah. Can you see anything? Yeah. Good. So this is the first question. Kim tad brahma kim adhyatma kim karma purushottam आदिभूतम च किम प्रोक्तम आदिदैवम किम उच्यते. मेरे 5 मिनट पहले मेरे को बोल दो to end, so that then we can wind up and they can ask questions or discuss whatever. So first is Kim Tat Brahma. What is Brahma? That is spirit soul. Kim Adhyatma. So Adhyatma, Prabhupada translates it as I cannot see it. The self. So apart from being Brahman or Atma, Adhyatma is actually also the inner self, Atma. Same thing. Brahman is the nature of Atma, that is eternal, spiritual. And Kim Karma, repetitive activities, Krishna already explained. Purushottam, most supreme person. Adivatam, what is the material nature? This is Panchamahavati described in 5th, 7th chapter. Adivatam, Apavanalo Vayu Kambadin. What is that sloka we can say? Bhumirapannalo Vayu Kammanavadarevacha. Thank you. Ankaratyam. So these are the nature, material nature Krishna describes in 7th chapter, right? And Kim Adidaivam, what are the demigods? So this is not touched upon much in this chapter, or later it will be more described in the 9th chapter, I think. Uchyate. So Krishna explains this. These are the 4 questions. Then again, next one he is asking, Adi Yajna Katham Kotra Dehesmin Madhusudana Prana Kalacha Katham Yavasi Niyata. So last question is Prana Kale. So Adi Yajna, the Lord of Sacrifice. Then he says Prana Kalacha Katham. So who is the Lord of Sacrifice? How does he live in the body, O Madhusudan? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? So this is the question that Krishna focuses more on this chapter. Of course, he answers all other questions, like he says, very briefly touches upon. So the Supreme Personality of God said, the indestructible transcendental living entity is called Brahman. Okay, answer. His eternal nature is called Adhyatma, or the self. Okay. Action pertaining to the development of material bodies of the living entity is called karma, material activities. So one line is just answering the questions. Then he goes into the next where he says, Adibhuta, august embodied beings, the physical nature which is consisting of changing called Adibhuta. Whatever changes, the universal form of the Lord which includes all the demigods, like those of sun and the moon, is called Adidaiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the super soul in the heart of every embodied being, is called Adhyagya, Lord of Sacrifice. Like that Krishna explains one. We can go in details, but we'll just leave it there because we want to focus where Krishna wants to focus. So then he says, these are the takeaway verse you can say for this chapter. This one and the next one, 8.5, and a couple of more. So in this chapter that we should know, 8.5. So I have seen sometimes if you look at important verses in Gita, they come in a very easily memorable numbers, 8.5. Fifth verse of 8th chapter, like that. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram iha prayati samadbhavam yati nasti atra samsayah. So I would like you to focus on this word, samsaya, on the top. Because sometimes it is explained uh, that doubts are like demons. You know why it is compared like demons? Because demons, if we don't destroy them, they'll destroy us. Right? That's what demons are. So somewhere we don't have to discriminate. We have to just shoot. Right? uh, Now, if you see Hitler, then there is no need to discriminate how good or bad or what the cause and all those things. Just shoot him, because that's like very demoniac mentality. And so many people have innocent people have died. So therefore, it is said, doubts are like that. We need to deal with them immediately. Otherwise, they will trouble us all the time. And here, Krishna is especially saying that if you know this verse, then this is what it is. Yati nasti atra samsaya. There is no doubt about it. There is no doubt about it. Or do not doubt this. So what somebody must say, then is it some kind of pressure that you have to accept this, otherwise it's things like that, go to hell, things like that. We should not think it in that way, because when Krishna speaks to Arjuna, they are like friends, Sakha, right? Krishna and Arjuna used to be friends. They used to be very good friends, very close friends. But when this situation came where he has to actually face in the middle of the war, people he was fighting, that he loved them like Bhishma and Drona, his guru. So situation was really, really very odd for him, and so much so that Arjuna said, Krishna, please, you tell me what should I do. And if you think that I'm just asking casually, you become my guru. Be my guru. You become my guru, and you tell whatever you tell, I'll accept it as a disciple. Shishya, the fourth chapter, knowledge, transcendental knowledge. The whole Krishna, Arjuna says actually, I accept you as a teacher, and you accept me as a disciple. Shishya. So that's a big deal. To friends, we don't take friends. We can never, our ego will not allow to, say friend, and you become my guru. No way. It's very tough. But the situation was so tough on him. He was willing to do anything. And here, Krishna is not taking advantage of being a guru, right? Because after all, he's a friend. So many years they have passed together, and he was trying to help them in so many different ways, different situations. So why should he tell him something? Now you understood. Now this is what it is. It's not like that. The friendship still continues, and he speaks from his heart, and therefore he's using these strong words because he's a friend. He's a friend. He wants to make it very clear that antakale cha mameva. So earlier Krishna indicated about his position and our position, right? When Arjuna asked, you are speaking about all these, Surya and his son and his disciple, how the knowledge descended. But you and I were born recently. How do you know all these things? And Krishna says there are many births you have passed through. You don't remember, but I remember all of them. Now here, understanding that we Hare Krishna. Understanding that we are spirit soul, for example, let us take it. Let us accept that we are spirit soul. So then, how many of us actually can recall our previous lifetimes? We can't even recall last year, this month, this day, what we did, things like that. It's very difficult to recall. Our memory is very limited. But there are some sages, they do this, what you call regression, past life regression, something they do. You can go back, and actually understand things. These are different techniques to do it, but just remembering like that is very difficult. So, but here Krishna very casually says, actually, I remember everything. So that's shows his position is different from us. And again here says, Antakalecha mameva smaran muktva kalabana ya prayati samad bhavam yatinati. That at the time of, and whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. And the next verse he says, okay, what happens if I don't? This is yam yam vyapis one bhavam tajyati ante kalevaram tam tam eveti konte sadatad bhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state will attain without fail. Okay, you don't remember me, you remember something else, will attain that again without fail. Now, here Krishna is actually, these are also called, Gita Sutra, or they are called like Vedanta Sutras, where the Vedic knowledge is presented in a very formulate, like small formulate, you know. So we should not take these verses just like some other verse like that. Here, the whole thing is presented in a very nutshell. When we study Vedanta and other Vedic literature where Atma and all this death is described, they said how the soul is actually within this body. These are the material layers are there, and there is mind layer is there, and intelligence, ego. All these layers are actually keeping the Atma within kind of protection, you can say, or covering, not protecting, covering. So when the body becomes useless, there's a cancer or something happens, heart is choked with cholesterol, other things, and whatever, and so high sugar and things like that. And the body, it's like if the house is breaking down like this, the wall is falling off, the ceiling is falling off, then what will we'll just go out, right? We don't stay here anymore. It's not habitable anymore, right? We have to move. We may love this house a lot. Nothing would like that going to happen. So, just imagine the situation. We just leave, right? There is an earthquake. We just leave. Everything we leave behind. Your treasury, money, everything we leave behind. And just go out. So, same way, when this body fails, we have to move out. So, how we move out? Every time we move out, we need some kind of vehicle to go out. So, the mind, intelligence, ego, they're like a form of vehicle which carries us from this body to the next. That's how it, the Puranas, if you study it, it's explained like that. So therefore, the memory, which is function of mind, is with us in the next destination. Therefore, we can recall. If you want to recall, you can recall your previous life. There are so many stories where the kids are able to remember their past lives. And they take to the place, the spot where things, somebody's murdered or something has happened. They actually take to the right situations. They're scientifically recorded. Anyway, so the point is, so that bhava is actually takes us to the next situation, next part. So yam yam vapis smaran bhavam tajyati ante kalyaparam. So what is the state of bhava that comes to the end of life? Is that which we carry throughout our life. Suddenly some new bhava doesn't pop up at the time of death, right? Just like, there are some examples they give, kind of jokes. I announce it a joke because you may not laugh. So I'm not good at speaking jokes. So I'm just announcing it as a joke so that you remember. So even if you don't like, just laugh, just make you comfortable. So this businessman was there, and he didn't take retirement. He's just going to the shop every day. Like the sons become very, they become very sad with the situation. They said, this man is so much attached to his shop. Let's try to get rid of him from the shop thing. So the sons, they call one sadhu and tell him, just take him on a tirtha yatra, pilgrimage. So maybe he will change through your association, through the places like that. I said, okay. So Sadhu likes to go to holy places, so somebody is sponsoring, so what was the problem? So he took him. They went to many places, but there was no change in him. And he was thinking, my God, what will I do? So much money is spent, what should I answer to the kids? So finally they went to Varanasi. In Varanasi, they burn all these dead bodies. It just continuously comes. They burn, put the ashes into the Ganga, and next body comes like that. So where this man becomes very conscious, he said, "Oh my God." So the sadhu thought maybe he's getting some kind of relation about life and death and things like that. Some detachment is coming. He said, "What happened?" No, I was thinking I just chose the wrong business. If I were doing business of wood, they're burning in the woods, right? If I were doing a business of wood, I would have made much more money. Looking at the number of dead bodies that is coming and getting burned there. So like that, so that bhava suddenly doesn't come at the end of the life. How we cultivate, how we take ourselves, you know. So like there are another example is some businessman. The businessman example is given why, because businessmen are most absorbed people. If you do a startup, you'll understand that. Some of you may be doing already. Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Krishna says in Gita second chapter, Eka Kurunanda, that you should focus on spiritual life like a businessman. Like analogy is given, businessman. Because there is lust, there is anger, there is greed. These are three different things that actually destroy our life. But of the three, like anger has a beginning and an end. Hopefully, it ends. You bolt it out and then sorry, things like that. But the greed, it doesn't end. It just doesn't end. It goes on and there is no end to it. In the business, in the economy model, if you study economics, it says based on greed, right? So when one does business, then there is no end to it. It's like going on and on and on and on. And that's what Krishna wants. Utilize that kind of mentality in Krishna consciousness. So this businessman is again about to die. So he's saying, "Where is my first son, elder son?" Son says, "I'm here, Dad." Where is my younger son? He says, "I'm also here." Where is daughter-in-law? Here. My daughter here. The wife here. Everybody says, "I'm here, right next to you. Don't worry." He says, "Everybody is here. Who's in the shop?" He's asking, "Who's in the shop?" So again, same principle is that we cannot cultivate a thought process or a remembrance if we don't practice. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya, he introduced these things of chanting of Hare Krishna and serving deities or hearing about him regular basis, like what Acharya Chaitanya Prabhu is doing very fantastic. I used to go when I was in an ashram every week, give 3-4 classes. People would gather like all of you, and very nice. Years passed by, 10 years, 15 years passed by, and recently I went to India. I was in Bombay, so they all invited me, and in my absence, also things are going. And they had some Golden Puja, and some 2,000 people came in the festival, and because I'm a cook, wherever I go, I teach cooking. So they cook the entire fish themselves. They don't hire any cooks or anybody. They have given them everything, every knowledge, like what capacity stove you need, how many capacity utensils you need, and what are the recipes, how to cook them. Everything I have given them. So one place they do Rath Yatra, and around 10,000 people come. Around 10,000 they feed over 2 days. And another place, they are cooking like 2,000. They're all scientists. They're cooking rice, dal, sabji, chole, sab. Anyway, so the thing is, there's a lot of thing that happens, but within, through those services and through those activities, hearing and all, a lot of purification happens in the heart. And the meaning of life becomes more and clarity comes more and more. So that's Srila Prabhupada's the greatest gift is this chanting of Hare Krishna, and second I would say is prasadam. Of course, the knowledge Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and third is prasadam, because I was a kid when I was raised in a Vaishnava family, so my mother used to offer every day, and I used to eat that and go to school. We used to offer once a day at home. Evening would not offer, but morning offering is must. So the same plate that she would offer to the deities, I would eat from the same plate and go to school. And I didn't know about so detail of separate things. That was a nice experience. Uh, but later, when I came to Krishna, then I went to college, universities, hostels. Then I followed all these things. I was eating whatever. Uh, but then when I heard this, Prabhupada went to America, New York, other places, and he actually, Americans and different types of people, different class of people, Europe, Africa, everywhere you went, and they're all cooking prasadam. So I was amazed. I said, "Oh my God, this is too much. This is too much." I mean, बहुत हो गया, ज़्यादा हो गया ना. But it was. But if you go to any Govinda restaurant, they're so popular. Anywhere Govinda restaurant, you might have gone some places, right? Good food, but pure, sattvic, and things like that. That is one thing. And kirtans and the katha and the temples, and there's no end to it. And the more it happens, the better it is. Because otherwise, who's going to tell us these things? No? I would not never know these things. I didn't know what is the difference between Gita and Bhagavad. I thought both are same. But then I came here today. I'll speak a little bit about that. 7:59. Okay, we have like 20 minutes, right? Yeah. So here again, coming back to this verse, Yamam Vapis Manam Bhavam Tajyadyate Karam. Krishna says, whatever state of mind you have, that state you will achieve next life. Then, therefore, he goes, next verse he says, this is also important. This 3, 5, 6, 7. This is a takeaway. Tasmat sarvesu kalesu. Tasmat and therefore. Tasmat sarvesu kalesu. At all place and all time. Ma manusmar yuddhacha. You're fighting, but don't forget me on the background. Or maybe that is the foreground. You see, because what do we think inside, that is the foreground, right? What we do externally is one thing, but what we think inside, that is what we are, isn't it? Isn't it? That's what we are. So keep me inside, and you go and fight. Do your duties, do your things, whatever you want to do. But tasmat sarvesu kalesu mam anusmara. Anusmara again, anu means it is unbreakable actually. It is so much we love Krishna within that it never leaves us. Mamanusmara yudhyacha. Mayarpita mana buddhir mama vaishasya asamsaya. Again asamsaya. Third verse. That if we do like this, you will come to me and there is no doubt. And why Krishna is emphasizing coming to him? Because that's where our eternal life begins. Here, temporal life, always there. Same. Just think of going to school again, going to the college, universities, going through all the interviews and getting a job again, getting married and finding a partner is such a difficult thing nowadays. All of you must have gone through it, and this is so tough. Would you like to do it again and again and again and again? I mean, okay, one more time maybe, yes, okay. But multiple times, thousands of times, millions of times, that's something awful, right? Therefore, this cycle we have to end. And we can end it by entering this cycle, where we enter in Krishna's world. And that's what the goal is, right? Okay, so then Krishna speaks a little more detail. So one may say, well, this is very tough. How can I think of Krishna? Like there was a nice devotee in Mumbai who was helping me. Sometimes late in the night, he would drive me back to the temple like that. we became friends. So I gifted him something, a nursing kavacha. From I was in Mayapur. Around this time, I would be in Mayapur actually every year. Um, so I brought back him a nursing kavach, like in a small silver coated, So I gifted him. They keep it to protect for the protection and things like that. He said, no, I cannot take it. Why? He said, Prabhuji, I'm saying lies. He's in marketing. He said, I lie all day long. Every time I speak lies to people. So I cannot keep that on my throat. I feel guilty. I said, well. Anyway, so Krishna says, one may think how it's going to be tough for me, with the current given circumstances. How will I do it? So then Krishna says, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktam. So practice. So from the chant Hare Krishna, practicing, trying to hear this meditation. Meditation is required nowadays, no matter what, because so much of stress, so much of different situations have come up in our lifestyle and all. There is not much exercise. There is not much. So meditation. There are two things to relieve stress. One is the meditation, that is addressing the issues from inside. Another is out from outside, jogging, running. Like I was attending a stress management seminar. The person was saying, it was in a yoga class actually. I did a yoga training course. They were teaching us. There is a famous this fight or flight. Have you heard that thing? Fight or flight. So when there is something happens, like the deer is there, tiger comes. So deer has to fight with tiger or has to flee from the tiger, right? Deer of course cannot fight with the tiger. He has flee, right? So what happens before the deer actually flees? The body secretes a lot of energy, glucose, and all those things, and heartbeat also starts beating heavily. Standing at one position, like have you ever experienced? Especially when you're kids, you're hiding here, and other kids are there trying to catch you. You're hiding, and your heartbeat goes up a little bit, right? Because you're in anxiety. Here, they'll catch me now. So the deer's heartbeat increases. This all happens. So there is a nervous system and the control like that, and that helps the deer to run. So what they have done? So sometimes the tiger catches the deer, and somebody shoots a gun or something. The tiger feels scared itself. They drop the deer. They go away, and the deer survives. But because that attack was so dangerously, close to death, the deer actually loses its hunger forever. It tries to eat grass, tries to drink some water, but the digestive system doesn't start again. It stays after digestion actually, fasting. And the deer dies. These are all recorded things. So the point they're trying to say is, when there is stress, if you run, actually stress relieves. And the trauma didn't recover, but for humans at least, then they say, suppose you're fighting with your wife or with your boss, you cannot run away, and you cannot give punch also. So the stress kills from within. Therefore, meditation will help there. So that the point comes that how we handle all these things for a lifestyle that we are living. Meditation is a must, because you can't run away from situations. So this chanting of Hare Krishna and all, they have a lot of practical thing to do with our life. Again, when meditation is connected to Krishna, then this Abhyas Yoga or Antakala Chamaveva, all these things become helpful. It becomes a lot of help comes in an ultimate manner. Okay. So Krishna is suggesting Abhyasa Yoga. Then here's a nice verse. How to meditate. Kabim Puranam Anusasitaram Anoraniyamsa Anusmaradhya Sarvasya Dhataram Achintya Aditya Varnam Tamasapurastha. One should meditate upon the Supreme Lord as was the one who knows everything, as he is the oldest, who is the controller, who is the smaller of the sons than the smallest, maintainer of everything. who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature. Then he says, one who at the time of death fixes his mind air between the eyebrows and by the strength of yoga, with an undeviated mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain to the supreme state of God. So, like that, he explains many things. And I want to come back to this different way how to achieve him. So this is the verse, another verse. Ananya cheta satatam yomam smarati nityasam tasyaham sulabha partha nityoktasya yogi. So there are different processes he describes in previous verses. That how chanting of Om and doing this yoga process, difficult processes. But here is using the word tasyaham sulabha partha. Sulabha means easily. Sulabha. This is verse number 14. Yeah. Ananya cheta sadatam yomam smarati nityasya. So those who regularly remember me. Okay. Tasya aham, to such person I am sulabha partha, easily accessible. Therefore bhakti is emphasis taken here. So bhakti yoga, which Srila Prabhupada is teaching us about chanting, hearing, kirtan, prasadam, and all these books, study of bhakti literatures. Krishna is using the word. This is the easy to obtain. It's not easy, but in a relative term it is easy. When you practice, you understand it is not. Then what is the result? So this is where we are again. Mamapatya punarjanma dukkhalayam sasvatam. This is another verse I would say you should remember. This is again 856 number. Mamapatya punarjanma dukkhalayam sasvatam. Napnavanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gata. That one who attains me, Mamapatya punarjanma, there is no again birth, there is no rebirth. Punarjanma. Dukkhalayam asasvatam, in this world, like I was saying, but take birth again, go through again all the process, Dukkhalayam asasvatam. So, you have studied hard, worked hard, and you are in best part of the world, Bay Area, California, right here. How many people can say actually there is no misery here? Convincingly, no misery. Done. Like we did all these things to remove miseries in life, right? So we have come all the way here, but then we understand dukkhalayam means dukkha is everywhere, no matter where. So, and asasvata means temporary. So temporary is a good word here. If it is dukkha, temporary is good. If it is sukha, no, it should be forever.
Okay.
So dukkhalayam asasvatam, these two words Krishna combines here. And the next few verses he is going to describe these two words in a very vivid way. Yeah, and that we will see now. So this is another verse you should understand. Napnavanti mahatmana, but Mahatma is the Mahanatma. People who are great, magnanimous, great personalities. Napnavanti, they don't take any interest in this temporary world. Why? Because samsiddhim paramam gata, they have achieved the perfection. So, although these two words coming in the second line is opposite of the rest of the three lines. Three lines is about Mamapatya Punarjanma, achieving me, Napnavatya Mahatma, Mahatma don't take interest in this. Samsiddhim Paramam Gata, they achieve perfection. These are all great words, but Dukkhalayam asasvatam is where we are stuck. And Krishna is going to describe them a little bit more. This verse says, Abrahma Bhamala Loka Punararvati Arjuna Mamapatya Punarjanma. Again, same thing. I think that's पीछे से So that Dukhalayam asasvatam, nasasvatam. And here it says, A Brahma Bhavana Loka Punar Apratinojana. From Brahma Loka down to Patala, everywhere there is a rebirth. So now the scale, scale Krishna is explaining about the universe. The study of science and understanding has developed a lot over the last 100 or 200 years. But before that, if you look at the history, like we know 2000 AD or 2024 AD now, after Jesus Christ, right? So before that, there is no history that is recorded. They simply say BC, before Christ, right? And that too also 200 years, 300 years, 2000 years, 3000 years, that's all, not beyond that. Because in the Western world, people thought life is birth and death. That's what history is speaking about, people's birth and death. That's all. But it doesn't go beyond. Of course, they have went up all the way to the moon landing, all the way. So moon, Mars, and everything is happening. But then even the scale, when we study in the Veda, the scales are tremendously huge. Time scales are tremendously huge. Like light year is now, it is distance. But then if you yoga cycle, for example, one yoga is like 3,200,000 years is one yoga cycle, Kali Yoga, for example. Nobody thinks about these things, right? Who would think? Nobody thinks about it. Tata Yoga is double of that. Dwapar is triple of that, whatever. And Satya is 4 times of that. And these figures, why should we discuss? If life is just 100 years or 8 years, 90 years, we don't discuss these things. But this time scale, these universal scale Brahmaloks down to Patalok, everywhere there is rebirth. So that means life beyond these planets are also there. These kinds of concepts are coming here. So Abrahma Bhumana Loka Punarabhati Arjuna. But once Vachivs me Mamapatya Konteya Punarjanma. If you see the word like Konteya, one who's son of Kunti, or so when Krishna is using these words, there he expresses that how much he loves Arjuna, how much he cares. Son of Kunti, because Kunti is known for her reputation as very tolerant, gone through a lot of distress but never gave up as a mother, right? So you are like that. You are the son of demanding, son of Kunti, and you should not make mistakes like this. Yeah? Punarjanmana vidyate. It's like that. Now he is speaking about the Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Ahar Yad Brahmano Vidu. That one day of Brahma is Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. Sahasra means 1,000. 1,000 Yuga cycle is one day of Brahma. Now these are the concepts that Einstein actually spoke about. Time relativity of time, right? Before that, nobody knew time is relative. I think you are studying technology so much, you might have ignored physics, after some time in 12th standard ke baad. But it's very fantastic concepts. Like the light, for example, light speed is constant, right? That means what? Like suppose I go at 60, somebody coming at 40, so you'll see my speed as 40 plus 60, 100, different direction. The same direction will be less. But light, no matter how you look at it, it's always same. That's why it's constant. So that's where they thought probably the distance by time is speed. So distance is changing, time can also change in different watches. So that the speed ratio is constant. That's how the thought process came. And that's how the whole relativity happened. Now we have this GPS system, everything is working based on those understanding. And the thing is, before that, nobody would even trust about these things. What is this? One day, 1,000 years here. There's a story in one of the There is a king by the name of Revata, and his daughter name is Revati. So he thought, I should marry my daughter to the best man in the world. So who can tell me the best person? Like usually, if you nowadays they choose their own partners, but earlier the father and mother would go and ask, "अरे हमारे बेटे के लिए कौन है अच्छा है इस city में है?" So somebody will say, hey, this guy is good, like that. So he said, who can say the best person? Brahma, because he is the creator. So he goes to Brahma Lok. And Brahmaji was busy with something, so he was like 5 minutes delayed or 2 minutes delayed, something like that, to meet him. So he said, well, I come here to ask you who's the best person. And Brahma is saying, well, 2 minutes delayed. That means all the people who have thought they have gone, their countries have gone, everything is gone. Because many, many years have passed now. You guys have passed. You will not find them. But anyway, now when you go down, Dwapar Yoga is going on, and Krishna Balaram has come. So you go to Balaram and offer your daughter in marriage.
Oh.
So Revati, see, they come down. Actually, because Dwapar Yoga has come, the height of people have also gone down. So Balaramji height was less than Revati. So Balaramji takes his plow and pulls her down to match the height. Then there was marriage happening. This was before Rukmini Haran. Anyway, so the point is, these concepts are written so vividly in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Puranas. Now, thanks to Albert Einstein and many scientists who have done spectacular work. But can you imagine how much energy it might have taken for them to understand these things, and how it was a revealed knowledge to them? It was revealed, you know. It just doesn't just revealed. But these things are so naturally written here, freely given. But free gift को nobody accepts, you know. Free gift भाव नहीं है. So that's how it is. Sahasrayuga paryantam ahar yad brahmano vidu ratrim yuga sahasrantam teho tatra vidojan. And the one night is again another 1,000 yuga cycles here. So that is just one day of Brahma. Can you imagine his lifespan? 1,000 yuga cycles, and each yuga cycle is like what's it, 3 to 1,000 multiplied by 2, multiplied by 3, multiplied by 4. Add them all. There is one yuga cycle, and like that 1,000 yuga cycles is a day of Brahma. How long he must be living? Suppose he lives 100 of his years, but still Krishna says this guy is going to die. From there to here, everybody is going to fall down. Everybody is going to go through that cycle. So even if we live a life of Brahma so many years, still there is an end. This death is still staring at us. Beta tumhara din aa raha hai. Still staring. So then, what is the point? What is the point of living here with this kind of situations? That's what Krishna is speaking in a very strong way here. See, that's his lifespan. Will it solve the problem? It's not going to solve the problem. Then,
in the purport it is mentioned how
Yeah.
many years? 311 trillion. 40 billion years.
Yeah.
17 words.
That's it. Yeah. So then he says at the next verse, at the beginning of Brahma's days, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are all merged with the unmanifest. So when Brahma goes to sleep, like when if you have a factory or something going on, if you go to sleep, some little destruction happens. When you get already, I will check again. Look at a computer, look at things, how things are. But when we go to sleep, we can expect something to go wrong. In Brahma's night, his creation actually goes in an unwinding process. And again, the day comes again. So in this way, again and again, when Brahma's days arrives, all living entities come to being. And with arrival Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated, including Brahma also. At his end of his in lifespan. Yet there is another unmanifest. So here Krishna is again saying, so instead of saying in this creation, which is Brahma and all this universal situation, Parastasmastu bhava anyo vyakto vyaktat sanatana. This is very beautiful. He says this is vyakta, manifest and unmanifest. There is a birth, there is a death. Manifest, unmanifest. Okay? This is the world that we are living. But parastasmastu bhava anyo. There is another nature than this nature, that is temporary, which is beyond is vyakta, abhyakta, and that is sanatana, that is eternal. That doesn't unmanifest. When this is when this goes through a devastation or destruction, that place never gets good. That's what we call Vaikuntha or Krishna Loka, Golok Vrindavan. All these places are sanatana. Yaha sa sarvesu bhutesu nasyatsu na vinashyati. Yet there is another unmanifest nature. So Krishna is the nature word is very important. Prakriti, nature. So that nature is different than the nature that we are accustomed to, which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. That which the Vedantists describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as supreme destination, that place from which, having attained, one never returns, that is my supreme abode. Krishna says, Vyaktakshara iti uktas tam aho paramam yatim am prapya na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. So, dhama means abode or place, right? So Krishna is winner of all the places. There is no place which Krishna doesn't win, or doesn't have, doesn't, you know. But among all the places, he says this is Parama. This Dhama is special. It doesn't get destroyed, right? And that is my favorite place. Like you may have a house, but there is a particular place which is your favorite place that you study or do whatever you like. There was one, I'll end with this. That's our destination. So once Akbar and Birbal were sitting together, then Birbal says to Akbar that Majesty, Jahapana, or whatever, you are greater than God. You are greater than God. So because in Muslim faith they say Allahu Akbar, Allah is greatest. So it was a challenge to his faith. Hey, this is wrong. You cannot say like this. This is too much. Too much of glorification of me. I can't take this. He said, no, you are greater. And unless you prove it, I'll chop off your head. That's how the things are. So it's no big deal. Suppose somebody comes and tells you that, you are so and so, you are like this or like that, or does something wrong in your country, you have a right to throw him out of your country, yes or no? He says, yes, I can throw. He says, God cannot do it. He says, how? Because wherever he throws, it's all his land. Wherever he throw. So everything, chara, achara, everything belongs, God has created. But among that, he says, this is my favorite place. And we should plan to go to that place. And that's what Mr. Prabhupada says, that the whole objective of the spiritual process is to go back home, back to Godhead. Okay, thank you very much. I hope I didn't cross the time. So this chapter is very important, and like all other chapters, so you have take back is 8.5, 6, 7, and 15. These are the verses that you should focus more. Yeah. Any questions, comments, or thoughts?
one thing that I was remembering when you mentioned lust, anger, and greed. So one devotee was mentioning in the class that one will lag in this world if it gets attached to lag. Basically, one will slow down his spiritual process if he gets attached to lust, anger, and greed. LAG.
Mm-hmm.
So he put like I was remembering that point. So he was saying that we become lag.
Yeah.
But this point is very important too. Although we hear this so many times about death, Srila Prabhupada mentions this as Samshan Vairagya. Like we go to Shamshan. If let's say some dear ones have lost their life, we go there and we become very philosophical. That what is there in this life? But as soon as we leave that place, when we come back home, we are same, back to square one, we say. So that's why it is so important to read this things that Krishna is saying again and again.
Mm-hmm.
We have been discussing this from last 4 weeks, and somehow we are again coming to the same point. Maybe because Krishna is actually also emphasizing it again and again. Second chapter he emphasized, and again the 8th chapter also.
Yeah, because the thing is, we kind of want to enjoy without somebody being watching us, like Krishna or anybody. Just want to be really independent, So that's where we lose our Krishna consciousness. What is better? I mean, a loving father, mother, kids, and surrounded by people who love you, and staying connected, or having a totally independent life without any connection with anybody. Which is better? Naturally, all of us will agree the first one is right. Am I right? Right or no? Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, bro.
So the thing is, so when you want to see our life separate from Krishna, then this temporary nature allures us so much that we forget about our eternal nature and we get entangled. And that can happen every now and then. It is happening actually. And when I walk back after this class, I'm speaking so many big things, then this allurement is there. So therefore we have to, that process of surrender which Krishna speaks in the 18th chapter. Sarva dharma patyaj mameka saranam, take my shelter. So that is a process. Surrender is a process. It is not just, I said, surrender doesn't work like that. I've tried many times. Krishna, yours. In my own journey, like as a brahmachari for so many years, as a monk, in ashram, living in ashram, I would say, okay, but then I realized that I was not surrendered for this reason or that reason or whatever it is. And again I come back on now it will be like this. Then I realize I'm making some false promises perhaps. Although I was very sincere while addressing like that, very serious, very intense. But then it breaks away because of that independent nature. It's going to take time. Sometimes it takes many lifetimes, but it's worth trying. Then your relationship becomes meaningful with Krishna. It has substance in it. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. Hare Krishna. Any questions from anybody would like to? Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Radhavallabha. Maybe in class. So we'll now have prasadam now, and one more thing is also many of them know Prabhu because Prabhu also has because he wanted so much to serve the devotees through prasadam. He also does that. I think Josh Prabhu takes prasadam from him, and also Radhavallabha.
Really?
So he takes, but he doesn't know he's the man behind.
Is it good or not?
So also I think Prahlad Prabhu also. So he also has when he was thinking what he should do as a larger service. So he does he serves prasadam in the afternoon. So if you want to know more about it, you can ask Prabhu about it, and also anything else also. He's been practicing for 25 years. Selflessly he served in Usman Chowpatty. So much depth of knowledge is there. Okay, we will now have we'll have prasadam, and devotees can make a line. Next week we will again. Prabhu today what he did is he covered it at a high level. We'll discuss more in detail, going words by words. So, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll thank you. We'll thank Radhavallabha again. We're loudly chanting 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Now devotees will make a line, and then I think there are lot of items because Radhavallabha was coming. We thought we'll make little.
I just went to a dentist, so.
But all of you are still coming. Yeah, so we have burrito bowl today. Also, yeah, today's cooks were Ruchi Mataji, Sukanya Mataji made, Manjari also made some items. Obviously, Nityadringi Mataji was leading the entire effort. Yeah, so please thank them also. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Yeah, you can make a line here. And if anybody of you don't have the book, Bhagavad Gita, you can take. You have. Yeah, you can take the book.
Yeah.
You were there? Yeah, you were there last. Last week, Lakshya Tumar Prabhu.